Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 192 of the Untapped Podcast. Now, this is normally where we go through our full intro. We're on a little bit of a time crunch today while we are recording, and Mitch is also not with us. Another thing, you might be curious as to why we're not using our normal mics, if it might maybe sounds a little bit different, or if you're watching, it might look a little different. We're having some tech issues because we're not always the most tech savvy.
AKA the tech issues are we don't have Mitch.
Yeah, pretty much, if we're being honest.
If we're being entirely honest here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of skip most of the beginning part that we normally do. We're going to skip over those first few minutes and just kind of hop right into episode 192. Yeah.
Yep. So this is in reference primarily, guys, to a video we dropped on our Untapped LLP account on Instagram. We dropped it on February 27th, so last Friday when you're listening to this. Basically about weekly auditing. We're going to keep this extremely simple because pretty much each one of the topics we're going to bring up, or each one of the things you need to audit, or that we like to audit personally, at least because you don't necessarily have to do these exact ones, that we like to audit, there's a very simple framework to go over these topics. Again, we're going to touch on things like fitness, nutrition, spiritual health, faith, primarily Christianity, as we touch on with our podcast, of course, and whatnot. And things like sleep even could be included in this. It could be also your work. What did you not get done with that type of stuff. And we want to encourage you guys to do a weekly audit. Could be Friday at the end of the week, could be over the weekend that you just finished that week on. And we actually talked about this in the No Words, Just Execution, episode 191. We talked about this topic of, in the Q&A, we actually went over this on Sunday, prepping for your week. Yeah. So it's almost like a re-audit after that Sunday prep, so to speak here, that you're doing over those specific topics.
Or even do it the other way, the way you just said. Do your audit of the past week, plan your next, to then fix the holes that maybe you found in that audit, Starting with fitness, that's a pretty simple and easy one to go over. When did I work out? When did I not work out? Why did I not work out? Whether that's getting to the gym, whether that's getting a walk or a ruck or a run in throughout the week. If there were certain situations where you did not get any of those things in and you were supposed to according to your plan, your program, whatever it might be, figure out why. Was it excuses? Was it a legitimate reason that kept you from getting that movement in? Because either one of those can always be true. It could definitely just be excuses, laziness, oh, I'm tired. Oh, it's cloudy outside. Oh, it's cold outside. We get it. It's much easier to get to the gym when it's 70 and sunny out. Believe me, we just had it on the day that we're recording here, and it was very easy to get to the gym.
Oh, it's a cakewalk.
It really was.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but most days, especially during the winter,
especially in St. Louis.
In St. Louis, most days are not like that at this time of the year. So you have to get yourself into those situations again, whether it's getting to the gym, getting a walk outside, getting a ruck, a run, sprint work outside, or whatever the case is for your program. But that's always a pretty easy one to start with because, as we know, fitness bleeds into a lot of the other things. So kind of the next one, nutrition.
Well, with nutrition, you could easily, if you're doing a food log, which again I think both Wurtz and I would recommend you do a food log at some point in time,
for sure,
at least. I've talked about it in the past. I've done a food log for a week at a time or even up to 2 weeks at a time just to see where I'm at, just to get an idea of that nutrition and actually, oh, wow, I'm eating a lot more than I thought I was, or I'm eating a lot less than I thought I was, which can be a big detriment to a guy my size, especially.
Yeah.
And it's something to check that way. Now, again, Wurtz is a guy who, what day are you on now in a row? 1,000 and something?
It's
or the 2,000, or I don't even know. Yeah.
It's
it's all blended together at this point for me.
It is 2,193.
So there you go.
And straight, by the way. That's
straight. And here's the thing, guys, too. The real truth of the matter, as a guy who, on my end of things, who does not consistently track food or that type of stuff on a daily basis like Wurtz does, that is the best way. what Wurtz is doing is the absolute best way to go about this.
Sure.
Because you get a guaranteed number of calories each day.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh my gosh, it's a disorder and whatnot. But then they'll in the same breath talk about budgeting for money and whatnot.
Correct.
And it's like, wait a second, this is the exact same thing we're talking about here.
Yep.
So
that's actually a great point there, because that's something that doesn't get brought up in the debate.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because you get talked about, it's a good habit that you're partaking in.
Yeah.
And you partake in a good habit like budgeting for money, which is very smart.
Well, and people budget their time throughout
budget their time, right?
This is exactly what we're talking about with the
Exactly.
audit and then planning. Like, it's the exact same idea. You're budgeting your time, you're budgeting your calories, you're budgeting your workouts, even in ways.
Yep.
You're budgeting money, like you just said. Like, you budget everything.
But the calories in workouts are somehow a disorder.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
It just means you're messed up in the
So
head.
just to hit on that, his method's the best, guys. If you can do it every single day, it is 1,000% the best. By the way, that also means tracking your alcohol.
Absolutely.
Also means tracking your alcohol.
Absolutely.
That means tracking the shit stuff you eat, the stuff you snack on and whatnot
Quick
too.
handfuls.
All of it. It has to be done.
It's not the most fun thing to do
No.
on those days, but if you truly want to stick to your plan, if you truly want to know what you're intaking every single day, like, you have to track even those things. It's not just the days where, you know, you had a steak and potatoes and it was a good meal for dinner and you had a good lunch with chicken and rice and stuff. It's like, no. It's everything. It's everything. And it literally takes 3 freaking minutes. Like 3 minutes. Maybe a little longer if you got to create a certain food that you didn't already have in the app or whatever, you know. And I don't pay anything for it either, by the way.
Which again, it's like the thing is on our podcast, who do we talk to? We talk to people that actually want to win.
Yeah.
And we need more of those people, as you
Absolutely.
and I are both well aware of too. So all this budgeting, the time stuff, budgeting your week and whatnot, you might think it's like hardo activity to go in and input a piece of food or something like that you added or something like that you really don't want to track or whatnot. But trust me, it gets results.
Yeah.
It's a guaranteed way to win. And the thing is too, is again, if you want to chase your goals and be great, details are the number one way to do that.
Yeah.
The number one way to do that.
If all of a sudden you step on the scale and it's like, man, I'm 10 pounds heavier than I was 7 weeks ago. Like, how did that happen? Well, scroll back through your days of tracking your food and it's like, oh, I was 400 over, 300 over, 700 over, 200 over. It's like, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why, you know?
Or like a prospective client we had, you're 100 pounds more than you ever expected you were at.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
That was a scary, that's a scary one.
And that's a very unique scenario.
Very unusual scenario. Yeah.
So anyway, we're advocates for tracking food. We have a little bit different methods behind it. Both can work. I'm in agreement with you. I think especially if you're getting started out, do it every day. You know, and if you can make it a habitual thing that you do every day for a long period of time, all the better. You know, if you pretty much eat the same thing every single day, track for a couple weeks, and then you at least have an idea. At least have an idea.
Yeah, and we could go into whole episode on that.
Absolutely.
And we're not going to do that right now because we don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
Another one, start us out on sleep.
Sleep, man. It's a very...
I wouldn't call us the experts on that one.
No, not always. Certainly not. And truthfully, very few people are. You know, and some people are very, very precise and dedicated with getting to bed at the right time, the same time, getting up at the same time. It's a very difficult thing to do, and it's something that I should put more effort into. I'm sure you would agree with that. You have a little one, so sometimes your sleep is determined by her,
right?
Of course, but even still, you do still have some control there, obviously. But sleep is a very underappreciated thing, I would say, by the majority of people, because people don't realize that you are not only resting, you're recovering at the same time. Okay, from your day in general, from your workouts, from your runs, your activity. Okay, you're recovering from that while you sleep. It's obviously regenerating your energy that you just expended throughout the day. It is regenerating that for the following day. Okay, a lot of us try to live off of caffeine. That's not the greatest way to go about things.
No.
You know, at different points, you and I have been consuming anywhere from 400 to 600 milligrams of caffeine a day. You might get away with that for a week or two, especially guys our size. Like, we can handle that.
Sure.
But we don't do that month after month after month, year after year after year, because we know long term, it could cause issues for us, you know. So the really important thing to dial in is your sleep. It's very important. Take it seriously. Get to bed at a similar time, at least, every single night, okay? Try to get up at the same time. Getting up is probably my worst thing. And
same.
You know, if my dad's listening to this, he's screaming right now because I love to snooze the alarm. And that's certainly, like, that might be my literal worst habit, is snoozing my alarm over and over and over and over again. And that's not a good thing. You know, it's funny. It is funny, but like, that's not a good thing, because then you're in this like half sleep, half awake thing for like an hour,
which is not good for your body.
Which is
at
not
all.
good.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh, I'm getting an extra hour of sleep. No, you're really not. You're kind of screwing yourself, because then you wake up groggy and whatnot.
Yeah, you've one eye open. Yeah.
Yeah. No, literally, literally. So bottom line, sleep is very important.
Yeah, it is the key. And the thing is too, is like my issue right now is one of those to where, you know, it's, you dads will understand this listening. You know, I get home usually around 6 to 7, give or take, from work, and from that point on, I try to spend as much time with Holly and Haven as I can, because I don't get much time during the week to spend with them. That's the truth. Yeah. It sucks. But it's the truth. And the thing is that whenever they head toward bed and whatnot, or at least Haven's heading toward bed, I usually catch myself trying to get some work done at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Because I'm like, I want to keep pushing us forward with Untap. Like, I want to keep doing, I want to keep growing, you know, all this stuff. And the thing is, when I actually am like, I want to go to bed, I can fall asleep. Yeah. Falling asleep is not actually my issue a lot of the times. Here. But it is the thinking I need to stay up and look at one more Google Doc or something like that, or input one more piece of, you know, content on X or something, you know, whatever it is, whatever garbage I think I need to add on to or whatever. And again, like, that's not bad. Like, work ethic is not a bad thing in that scenario, obviously, to a degree. But then, you know, next thing you know, I'm up till 11 or something like that, and I need to be up at 6. And it's like, dude, that's not helpful. That's not helpful, because then I'm getting to bed at 11:30 or whatnot. You're getting 6.5 hours. Like, okay, great, that was fine, but that's not really enough for a guy like me. I need to be getting like 7.5, 8 hours a night. Yeah. So it's just, again, it's auditing that. It's auditing and catching yourself in those scenarios. That's why we're not speaking on this as if we're sleep experts or something like that, because that's just not. We're being real with you guys, because we're, again, bringing you along the journey here. Yeah. So, yeah, sleep is another one there for sure. Let's get into a really big one here. Faith. Yeah. And the reason I say it's a really big one is, I can say for myself, it's one that just gets, we put it on our operator standard. We talk about the operator standard and how it helps with the powerless task and whatnot and stuff like that we run through. And it's so many times that it ends up being like a 9 o'clock, 9:30 task for me a lot of the times. And that's not good, because I'd rather it be a morning task or a lunch task or something like that instead. And again, like, that's also why I think, and I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, but that's also why a lot of my content isn't me attempting to tell you how to live as a Christian. It's just not. Sure. You know, because like, I'm not going to pretend to be a faith expert here. I'm just not. Like, I'm so far from a perfect Christian in any sort of way that and this is an example of this. It's like those 3 verses that task to read. It's like, why are you putting it off till 9:30 at night or something like that? Yeah. Or maybe even not doing it because you end up falling asleep or something like that. Right. That's even worse. Yeah. You know, so I don't know. Something that's really helped me with this thing, because I agree with everything you just said. For sure, not the perfect Christian, the model Christian, nothing like that. But trying. You know? Yeah. Right. And something that's really helped me with that is, because I don't know, probably a year ago or so, give or take, I was like, you know what, I'm going to read the Bible cover to cover. I've never done that. The Bible that I have, well, actually, that we both have, it's got a few different reading plans in the front of it. And one of those is I think it blocks it out to a 3-year reading program, because it's literally like verse by verse each day. Sometimes there's multiple if they're short. And I was doing that, and I was like, this isn't doing a ton for me. Like, yes, I'm reading them. I can check off the box that I read. You know, I'm reading it in the order that Ephesians chapter 9 or something, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and it starts from the beginning, so obviously it starts in Genesis. But I could tell I was getting to the point where I was just reading them to check off the box. And it's like, that's also not a good thing. because then it's just like, oh, did it, check it off, we're good. So something that helped me is I was actually given one of those like daily read books. It's not a Bible, but it's one of those daily read books that has the date, February 27th, and it's got a little paragraph written by the author of the book, and then it usually has anywhere from 2 to 4 verses that follow that have to do with the subject of the passage. That has been much more helpful for me. Now, do I comprehend every single day's worth of the reading? No, I definitely don't. But the passage is very helpful because it talks in layman's terms, so to speak. Normal people talk, because sometimes the Bible can be very hard to comprehend. It's old traditional language that can be very easy to just like read the words and have absolutely no idea what you just read. I think we all probably fall into that at times with anything. But so it's talking in quote unquote normal people terms, and then you read the verses that go with that. And I have found that has been much more beneficial for me. And again, it's a daily thing, and in case you couldn't tell from the food tracking thing, like I have my daily habits that I stick to every single day. And so that was just one that kind of fit right in with how I kind of operate. So that's something that has certainly helped me. But into the auditing piece of this, to go along with the other points, easy one is, did I go to church this week? Sometimes that can be a very easy thing to blow off, because it's like, got to get ready, then it's an hour give or take at church, then the drive home. Sometimes you get lunch after, or if you go on Saturday night, if you're Catholic, you get dinner after. So then it's like a 3-hour ordeal that can be very easy to blow off. Very easy. I'm very guilty of that for sure. But did I go to church this week? Did I pray daily? At least once. If I want to pray twice or multiple times a day, did I do that? Did I read my Bible? Did I read my book? Whatever it is. Did I read the prescribed verses that Operator Standard, for example, gives us? Whether it's, we've had some where it's like read 3 verses talking on discipline, and then write how that pertains to you, or whatever. That's not exactly what the point says.
Write a paragraph detailing how this can apply to you, or whatever.
Exactly. And that's pretty simple. Go on Google, 3 Bible verses talking about discipline. Go to your Bible, read those verses, and then really try to soak in the information. So it's like, did I do these things? If I did, good. Good. If you didn't, why didn't you? Was it I fell asleep? Was it, I'll do that tomorrow? Was it just didn't feel like it? What was it? What caused that? Notice how our points here are the exact same for every single one of the categories we've talked to. So just as much as fitness, nutrition, and sleep are incredibly important to your life, so is this one. And arguably probably the most important, because if you have a good understanding of what you're intaking from the Word and from church and from the homily or the
message,
a lot of times that can apply to those other 3 points, and plus the other points that we're not even talking about. Work, creative work. That's another one for me. Like the creative work aspect is something else that I audit. Throughout the week, it's like, okay, did I feel like I put as much effort as I could or should have into my content this week? That's something else I audit. That's a personal thing. Not everyone's going to have to do that, but so anyway, those are my points for the faith.
Yeah,
for sure.
And again, like that's kind of a call to the imperfect Christians along with us as well, where you said something pretty profound there about how the Bible can be very difficult to understand. So there's a lot of talk nowadays basically atheists attempting to use Christianity and the verses in it against us.
Sure.
And then they'll put a verse in that's much more complex than they're ever giving it credit for.
Right.
So keep in mind, like it's pretty much the only book you'll ever get into that you can keep going back to the same verse and it teaches you a different lesson every single
100%.
time. Yeah. No matter if it's Old Testament or New Testament for that matter, because both are very important.
Absolutely.
For sure. So that's for sure. Like again, we definitely are not attempting to be preachers here, because that's just, that would be so out of bounds for us by so many levels.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that's not what we're called to do either. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least not right now. It certainly doesn't feel that way.
Right. Yeah.
And that's okay. You know. And so again, to back you up, that's why we're not sitting here like that. You know.
Yeah.
Now, are we experienced and good strength coaches? Yeah, absolutely. We can certainly speak from a position of authority there. Are we? You know, we're not dietitians, but do we have a good, solid understanding of nutrition? Yeah, absolutely. So we have parts of that we can speak from a position of authority. Do we have a good understanding of the positive benefits of sleep and adequate sleep? Yeah, absolutely. So we can speak from a position of authority. Do we have a perfect understanding of Christianity or our faith or the Bible or God's Word in general? No, absolutely not. So we're not going to speak from a position of authority. You know, and that's not at all what we're attempting to do here. We're talking about the things that we struggle with. I'm sure you guys listening and watching, you probably struggle with some of the exact same things that we've outlined here. You might have different ones too. Let us know what those are, because maybe that's an area where we're good with, so we can help you. And maybe you have good experience with the things that we just listed out that we falter in, that you can help us with. You know, so let us know. Especially with the other points as well that we outlined.
That's why you should also dive into books written by Paul, especially, you know, like the Galatians, the Ephesians, the Acts, the Romans, all that stuff. Because you read it whenever he writes, it's funny. A guy that you and I would both sit here and think as, you know, St. Paul when it comes to Catholicism, Orthodoxy, and whatnot. You call him Apostle Paul in Protestant speak. But when you look at a guy like that, he always talks about how imperfect he is. There are times where he'll lament about how much he thinks he's failed God. And this is also the guy that in his previous life before becoming a Christian also was the one who was slaughtering Christians as a, Pharisee, essentially, as a Jew at the time. So you got to remember, it's like, that's why it's important for us to say this stuff, but it's also important for us not to be like, act like we're some kind of godly authority on the situation. It's like, maybe God has sent us to talk about it in this way. Who knows?
Sure.
Or maybe he's called us to talk about it in this way, but I mean, so far from checking all the boxes we need to.
Absolutely.
That's for sure there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Guys, bottom line, audit your week. Every single week. You can certainly audit your days, but at the end of the week, audit everything you just went through. The fitness, the nutrition, the sleep, the faith, your work, your creative work, whatever else it might be for you, audit that. And then go into that next week ready to dominate those holes. That's the thing.
Beautiful.
Yep. All right, guys, that's episode 192. Please share the show, submit your questions, all the different ways that we ask you to. You can sign up for our email newsletter through our Instagram bio. Next men's event, the graphic should have been out yesterday. So next men's event is March 7th. That'll be at Parkway South, 8 a.m. And then, again, keep your eyes peeled, probably coming this week, for March 14th. We got another special announcement for another special event.
Definitely be ready for that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, guys, until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Break.